Has anyone traveled through Europe without struggling to find a restroom? It's almost like a battle against restrooms, as most streets and even subway stations lack public facilities. Furthermore, if you do manage to find a restroom, there's often a fee to use it. This fee exists almost everywhere, from cafes where you grab a coffee, restaurants where you eat, to department stores where you shop, making it increasingly inconvenient. And it's not just tourists who are feeling this inconvenience. Locals are complaining about the shortage of restrooms, as many remained closed due to COVID-19. According to a survey by the German broadcaster MDR, a staggering 80% said there was a severe lack of restrooms in city centers. The elderly women and children, who find it harder to hold in natural urges, faced even greater challenges. And where toilet paper is provided, you have to pay around $1, adding to the financial burden. Despite Schurf being wealthy with top-tier welfare, why does it seem so miserly when it comes to restrooms? Firstly, Europeans are accustomed to the lack and commercialization of restrooms. Until the mid-19th century, Europe's cities were essentially vast restrooms. Public restrooms were rare and homes scarcely had any, so people of all genders openly relieved themselves in the streets, even during the daytime. When it rained, the streets would flood with waste, making even high heels pointless. This led to jobs like carrying ladies across the filthy streets. Second-floor residents often dumped waste onto the streets, making umbrellas and capes fashionable to avoid getting soiled. Ironically, Europe has a long history of flush toilets. On the Greek island of Crete, where the Minoan civilization flourished, distinct remnants of flush toilets from around 2000 BC still exist. Sitting on stone seats, people could do their business, and water would flow from drainage pipes to wash away the waste, an undeniable prototype of the modern flush toilet. Solving the odor problem, toilets then moved indoors. The Roman Empire further advanced this, becoming a truly sophisticated civilization in terms of toilet facilities. Utilizing urban sewage systems, they connected each household with a flush toilet. In the 4th century, Rome even had over 400 public toilets throughout the city. However, as Rome fell, the continuity of this toilet civilization abruptly ended in medieval Europe. Dominated by Christian ideology, which emphasized suppressing physical desires due to asceticism, even the Roman bathing culture became a sin, considering that nudity could provoke lust. This caused a rapid decline in cleanliness and hygiene across Europe. Even medieval medical police exacerbated the situation, wrongly promoting the idea that bathing was unhealthy. As Europeans began to avoid bathing, body odor became quite severe. Although perfume was created to mask the odors, it couldn't prevent the recurrent pandemics. As bathing faded out of practice, indoor toilets also began to disappear in Europe. The religious revolution in the early 16th century was a decisive factor. A kind of purity competition between old and new religions made Europeans reluctant to even touch water. Consequently, toilets vanished from households and even palaces, turning European cities into filthy places filled with human waste. For instance, the Palace of Versailles in France, home to over 5,000 people including the king and nobility, and consisting of around 700 rooms, had not a single toilet, exemplifying this historical consequence. The concept of paid toilets has been long established in Europe. In 74 AD, Rome faced financial difficulties due to frequent wars and the construction of the Colosseum. To overcome this crisis, Emperor Vespasian came up with a clever solution, charging a fee for the use of public toilets. Additionally, heavy fines were imposed on those caught relieving themselves outside of the toilets, effectively collecting taxes twice. When many Romans criticized this, saying, "Charging for the smelly toilets is not worthy of an emperor," he retorted, "Money does not stink." Even the English word toilet originated from the concept of paid toilets. In Paris, France, when people urgently needed a toilet, they would shout, "Toile!" Cloaked individuals would then appear, providing a large bucket. Toile, in French, means cloak or veil, and this term was used because the cloak was used to cover the person while they attended to their needs. This portable paid toilet service, known as toile, transitioned into the English language as toilet. There are practical reasons behind the absence and monetization of toilets grounded in two long-standing issues. One primary issue is architectural. Many buildings in Europe's historic cities are over 200 years old. Alleys tend to be complicated and narrow, and many buildings are constructed from very sturdy stone. These structures are generally regulated by urban planning and building regulations, making the legal construction of new toilets challenging or requiring considerably higher costs than anticipated. Moreover, the limestone content in the water tends to block pipes, necessitating frequent plumbing replacements, meaning that maintaining toilets is quite costly. These factors make it challenging to increase the number of toilets in city centers, or necessitate the implementation of fees to cover the costs. Perceptions of restrooms generally differ between the United States and Europe. In the United States, toilets are typically considered public facilities, funded and operated by taxpayers' money as a matter of course. However, in Europe, there's a clear principle that users should bear the cost, meaning it's common for individuals to pay to use the toilets. It is understood that paying helps maintain the cleanliness of the facilities. In France, there are women referred to as Madame Pipi who manage and maintain toilets, collecting fees. While most toilets are automated, a visible Madame Pipi often reassures users about the cleanliness of the facilities. In Europe, toilets have also evolved into a business commodity. Particularly in major cities in Spain, private companies establish and manage toilet facilities. These toilets are maintained quite well, but tend to charge higher fees. The increase in vandalism, like stealing taps or damaging sinks, has led to a rise in privately managed facilities in Europe. Recent analysis suggests that the increase in homelessness has also hindered the expansion of public toilets. There's a concern that homeless individuals might occupy and potentially defile these spaces, which discourages the creation of such facilities in the first place. Public restrooms also run the risk of becoming hubs for drug use, illegal transactions, or even potential sites for sexual offenses. Especially for private businesses or general buildings, there's a fear that opening toilets to the public might lead to legal challenges if criminal activities occur, making the approach to public restrooms quite stringent. Thus, the scarcity of toilets in Europe can be attributed to various historical, societal, cultural, and practical reasons. While tourists may briefly encounter these issues, locals endure them daily. Despite numerous reasons, it's perplexing why the lack of toilets remains an unresolved primary issue, questioning where the substantial amount of tax money is being spent. The difficulty in resolving this basic issue seems to reflect a lack of will in providing essential public services, sometimes causing Europe to be mockingly referred to as a desert of services.